Hi everybody, welcome back to the next video. On this one we're going to look at differences actually with car vocabulary and the differences that we use between American British English when we're talking about parts of a car, maybe certain things or features with driving as well. Interesting thing is that on the previous video we looked at the top 10 differences that could cause potential misunderstandings in American British English. Now we'll go a little bit deeper on these next few videos. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the first one. The first word I would use a lot of when I see a really big lorry on the street, which sounds very, very similar to Laurie's name, but it's slightly different. So lorry. Laurie, tell us what you'd say in American English.
I would call it a truck.
Right.
In fact, I'd never heard the word lorry to talk about a truck until I moved actually to Europe, and then people were kind of confused. Why is my name something that's very similar to a truck?
Of course.
It's spelled completely differently, and we would never associate in the U.S. A lorry with a truck. It's only a person's name.
I see. Interesting.
Pretty common name too, actually.
Yeah, really? Okay. We have Laura.
Right.
But okay. Oh, all right. Good. Okay. Next one is if I've got a problem with my car, the first thing I'll do is I'll take it to a mechanic in a garage, ask him to have a look at it, and he would say, "I'll open up your bonnet."
Yeah, we call it a hood.
Right.
And we only use bonnet to talk about a type of hat that women used to wear a long time ago. It's quite conservative and old-fashioned. You wear a bonnet at Easter, maybe. Yeah. I think about Little House on the Prairie, they all wore bonnets.
Right, yeah, of course. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so like the period of Jane Austen, things like that. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good. Another one is... obviously the opposite being, we talked a little bit about bonnets as well, hoods on cars, would be if I'm putting something into the back of my car, I would open up the boot, whereas Laurie would say...
The trunk. We would put things in the trunk of the car. We do use the word boot, though, in connection with cars when we're talking about if you have parked illegally for a certain amount of time, the police will come and they'll put a thing on your wheel. And we call that a boot. So you can't drive away. Right,
that's interesting. So in Britain we'd say a clamp. So also we use it as a verb. So I've been clamped. Or they're clamping my car.
They're booting my car.
Right, they're booting your car, are they? And you'd use it as a verb as well,
Sure.
Okay, that's good. That's interesting. Okay, good. Then we can talk about a little bit more where you leave your car for a few hours. So obviously I'd call it a car park. In Britain that can actually be a place that's covered, so like a parking garage, but also it can be open air as well.
Parking lots.
Okay,
for sure.
Good.
And it could be, you've seen it probably on TV, those really huge spaces that we have where you can park lots and lots of cars, a parking lot, or also it could be, like you said, the covered ones, maybe if you're the park and ride, for example. It's a parking lot.
Sometimes in Britain we call the one that have got several stories, we call them multi-story car parks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you don't
No,
call
I don't
them...
think we would differentiate.
You wouldn't do that. Interesting. Okay, then if we go on the motorway, we'll talk about this in a minute, the motorway, or in Slovak diaľnica and Autobahn in German, then I would probably maybe get on at a junction and I'd leave the motorway at a junction too. Whereas we talk about you get on at the on-ramp. And you exit at the off-ramp. But often it's just called exit, and they number the exits at exit 17, exit 31, or something like that. Sure. As we say, junction 31 or whatever. Absolutely. Okay, good. Then if you're driving on the motorway in Britain and there's a delay or an accident, they might have a diversion onto other roads, and then you join the motorway somewhere further along.
Whereas we have a detour, and you have these big yellow signs that say detour with the arrow that points you in the right direction.
I see. Okay, good. Another one, if you've been very naughty and you've gone out for friends with some beers, you would be accused of drink driving.
I think that's really funny.
You do, don't you?
We call it drunk driving.
Drunk driving, that just sounds so odd.
But it's grammatically correct if you look at it.
Of course, it is, viewers. It is grammatically correct. She's not lying. Okay. And then, of course, similar thing again. If you are stopped for drink driving, you have to display your driving license.
Ah.
Also, interestingly on this, there's a little bit of a difference in the spelling, isn't there, Laurie?
Yeah, for sure. So we call it a driver's license. And the spelling difference is that the end, you spell it with a CE at the end, and we use an SE at the end.
That's it, yeah. So again, if you recall the earlier video we did on the differences with spelling, this is one of those differences here. Okay. Another one we can talk about is in the car we can have what we call a gear lever. So if you've got a manual car, obviously you need to go into first, second, third. We call that a gear lever. That's difficult in America because a lot of cars are automatic, aren't they?
Yeah, it's becoming much more common. And sometimes it's even difficult to get a car that does have standard. Or as we call it, stick shift.
Stick shift,
Yeah, I mean, officially we call it a gear shift, but maybe more of a slang is, say, I drive stick.
Okay, that's quite cool actually. I'd never say I drive with a stick. People would
I drive with a stick. I drive stick.
Oh, I see. That might have another meaning in Britain, actually. Yeah, a bit of a rude meaning, I have to say. Okay, then we've got a motorbike as well.
Yeah, a motorcycle.
You say a motorcycle. It's an interesting one.
Although the slang again could be I have a bike. I ride a bike. It could be a bicycle or it could be a motorcycle.
Okay, so either pedal power or motor power. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, good. Then normally, now this is an interesting one. When I need to go and put some fuel, I use this neutral word fuel into my car. I'd say I'm going to go and put petrol into my car. Laurie would say,
I'm going to get gas.
Get gas.
I need to get gas.
Interesting. Yeah. So you wouldn't say you're going to tank the car?
Definitely not.
No.
At all.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that the Germans say I have to tank.
It's also the same in Slovak. Yeah. That's it.
We get gas.
You get gas. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Another one is if I go to for those of you who know me well, I've travelled around the US, travelled to a few places in the world, and normally if I drive in that country and I'm on a large motorway, there's often maybe quite a large ring road around the city. Okay. Ring road's very common in the UK, but Laurie would say
a beltway.
A beltway. Yeah. That's interesting because a belt is what I'm wearing on my trousers, actually.
The beltway takes you all the way around the city, so you don't actually have to drive through it and get stuck in horrible traffic. Although the beltways normally have pretty bad traffic.
Of course they do. Yeah.
Anything nearby. And what do you actually call the road that you drive on? So we call it a highway.
Oh, of course, a highway. Yeah. Well, we'd just call it a motorway.
Okay.
Yeah, a motorway, definitely. Yeah.
No, we say highway, or sometimes you'll see if you're driving in the U.S., you'll see like the sign that says an I hyphen 95, and the I stands for interstate. So officially that's there, but we would never say I'm going to take the interstate. We just say I'll take 95 or I-95 or something. That's the one that goes down the East Coast, and then there's I-5 that goes down the West Coast.
I see. Yeah. It's interesting because in Britain, obviously, we just use M, like for example M6, which goes from the very north of England to almost to Birmingham, and that just stands for like motorway 6, basically. Okay, so some slight differences.
Another fun fact in the US is that often, or nearly all the time, the big highways, they either end in a 0 or a 5. The ones that end in 5, they go north-south, and the ones that end in 0 go east-west.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can kind of, if you get lost and you know that you're on, for example, I-90, so I'm talking about Boston now, I-90, you would think, okay, good, then I'm either going east or west, figure it out from there, and 95 then would be going north-south.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah. That is a fun
Little known fact.
Yeah, right? I didn't know that. Okay, good. And of course, last but not least, we can talk about the thing in the front of the car is, for me, the glass. It's the windscreen.
Yeah, it's the windshield.
Right.
One of those things that sometimes you have to get replaced if maybe a rock hits it.
Yeah, absolutely. It happened to me a few years ago, and it cost me so much money.
Yeah, definitely. And those things that go back and forth, we call them windshield wipers.
Oh, right. Okay, we just call them the screen wipers.
Okay.
Windscreen
screen
wipers.
wiper, I would think of a computer screen.
Oh, right. Of course. So that is really interesting. Okay, everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on our next video. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.